What's up, everyone? Alex Rossman here, and welcome to Rossman Radio, the social first podcast where founders and industry leaders stop pretending everything's amazing and they tell the real stories, the wins, the failures, the why did I even start this moments, all of it. Most importantly, we break down the marketing strategies that are actually working for them today, not the ones some guru made up in a hotel conference room in 2016. So if you want real-world growth strategies told by the ones who have scaled multi-million-dollar brands, just listen.
Welcome back to Rossman Radio. I'm here with Ben Elkins. He's a CEO of Utah Broadband and AirBeam, and we're excited to talk about how these two companies interconnect, but also what is working in the internet space when it comes to digital marketing and what we can look for on the horizon for you guys to get investing into. So welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Elise. I really appreciate it.
Of course, you're a busy guy. So I know you travel back and forth quite often between Utah and Arizona. Did you always want to be in this industry, or how did you end up here?
Great question. So, my previous life, I was actually worked for a company for 20 years, and I was in the telecom space. And then AirBeam, board of directors recruited me to come take over AirBeam and grow it. And I was super excited. My wife was like, "You need a new challenge, so let's do it." So here I am, and I took over AirBeam about 4 years ago, and really got into some verticals on trying to service really high-speed fiber internet to folks that didn't have access to good internet. And if you look around Maricopa County and Pinal County, there's a lot of different folks that don't have access to good internet. And one of the ones that I identified was the mobile home park industry. So we really hit that hard in Maricopa County, like in Mesa, Apache Junction, and then Gold Canyon. And then Pinal County, a lot of their towns do not have good internet. So we fibered up all of Arizona City and then went into Florence and different areas. So that was kind of the exciting part of putting fiber to the home, where people were kind of like on a snail's pace of dial-up to DSL internet. And we are allowing them to get, 1 gig, 2 gig speeds of fiber internet. So go about in a real roundabout way. I was excited to take over, and I guess this was my dream to be an internet guy. That's why I went through business school, and I wanted to run a company, and this was kind of a great opportunity. And so I was doing a really good job. They thought I was doing a really good job at AirBeam. I don't know. Some days I think I do, some days I don't. But then we moved on to Utah Broadband. They asked me to take over Utah Broadband too. So the board, and we're owned by Boston Omaha. Boston Omaha is a publicly traded company. It's 4 guys that live in Omaha, Nebraska, and they're a holding company. And one of their big holds is the ISP space. And we have 4 companies. We have AirBeam, Utah Broadband, InfoWest, and FiberFast Homes. So they asked me to take over Utah Broadband as well. And that's a suburb of Draper, Utah. And similar company. We provide internet service to rural Utah. And we're based in Draper, and we do fiber to the home and fixed wireless. And we do up to 1 gig, 2 gig speeds in a very competitive market. And so I spend 1 week in Arizona, and then next week I fly to Utah. So I kind of go back and forth, and really exciting stuff. Again, we try to provide fast internet to rural Utah and areas that in Utah there where people are disenfranchised, and areas that, your larger billion-dollar companies like your Comcast or Cox will not go in those areas because it isn't price prohibitive. So we actually go in there and try to do a good service for the community, the folks. And I think it's what makes us different, servicing those folks.
Yeah, sounds like it, because you think of internet companies and it's just like a nightmare. Like when you work with the bigger ones, it kind of seems like they're just trying to get your money. And, even if something goes wrong, or you don't have internet connection, it turns into this song and dance of okay, well, we'll credit you $2. And even though you were out for internet for 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, not to disparage my competition, but let's go ahead.
Yeah.
But for instance, you call up a Cox, and I have Cox at home, but you talk to a robot, and then by the time you finally get to someone, you're fighting for a credit of $3 or $4, and then you're just an account number. They really don't care. And I get it. They have millions and millions of customers, right? They're so big, they can't fail. And that's one of the things where we try to be much different. We actually care. You're not an account number. You're actually a person. And we have tens of thousands of customers, not millions. So I guess it's apples to oranges a little bit. But
so what are you guys doing right now to sort of combat the larger companies? Because I know it's one advantage to, that they're not willing to go into your area. So as terms of advertising, traditionally it'd be hard to go up against these bigger companies because they have big spends and can really afford to lose a lot of money to get for the sake of advertising. But in your situation, it's almost unique where you can advertise and not have to go up against them. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We had kind of a cool, I don't want to call it monopoly, but we were one of the first and only people out there. And then as the population, like for instance, in Pinal County out in Casa Grande, has grown and people have moved here from California, right? So Arizona has boomed. So now more people move out there, and your other folks like a Cox and those people are now in those areas. So I am competing with them now. And it is daunting. Like there was this company that I won't mention their name, but they were spending $15,000 to $20,000 a month on fake SEO just to test the market, and they did it for 9 months. So they ripped through, basically $150,000 just testing a market. So when you have a company that's okay with just kind of wasting $150,000 just to test a market, yeah, I mean, versus a company like ours that, even though we're backed by a publicly traded company, we are a small, nimble, roll up your sleeve. We're a small ISP, so it does make it challenging. We have to be super strategic on our SEO. We spend a certain amount. We do data fencing. We do keywords. We're moving keywords around. We have a team, and I actually watch it myself daily. So we move keywords around, and we stay away from certain words too that drive up the spend. So, I mean, and we monitor that every 24, 48 hours to kind of watch it, and then stay away from holiday weekends because the spend gets driven up so bad. And there's all kinds of little tricks, but we've done it very successfully. We try to get our message out and our value add to the customers through our SEO, and then bring it back to our website. And it seemed to work so far.
That's awesome. It sounds like it does. Are you guys doing a lot with AI SEO?
Not as much. We started that about 9 months ago. I would say that's probably about 20% of our spend, but 80% is still driven by traditional SEO, and more on the Google side than the AI.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And we're honestly seeing a lot of companies in the last 2 months wanting to show up in the SERPs. So I definitely think that it's a place where back in the day, you could get on Google and show up #1 if you did all the right things. And that's kind of like what the AI situation is right now too, to show up in ChatGPT. It's actually becoming one of the largest search engines, which people don't understand that like the search behavior is now becoming, people are logging into chat and asking it, where can I get my internet? Which is insane, right?
Yes.
So now you can show up there if you do things right. Like you can be the one that pops up. And the other thing that's really cool about AI SEO is they're not a pay-to-play platform yet.
Yeah.
They're not, just prioritizing the big guys yet.
Yeah.
So one of those unique situations where you get in at the right time, and it's definitely interesting. So you guys obviously do things the right way. You're looking at marketing very strategically versus like just, throwing a bunch of stuff out there and seeing whatever works. How did you guys, decide that this is the avenue you wanted to take? So it sounds like you're doing a mix of like SEO and ads. How did you guys decide that this was the avenue that you wanted to take? And have you guys looked into, modern day, or not modern day, but like more Gen Z or like millennial advertising, like TikTok, like social, like content? Or do you feel like it's just like not really where your people are at?
Yeah, so no, great question. So I guess how we got there, I look at everything on my cost per acquisition for a customer. So I live and die off that. So I want to have my acquisition cost at a certain level for every customer, and SEO enables us to do that. And we monitor that daily and weekly, making sure that whatever we're spending, we acquire a certain amount of customers for that cost. And it works in our model of how much we spend. It all goes back to how much, say I spend $3 million on a project. then I have to acquire a certain amount of customers to get the return on that investment. Well, the SEO vessel then allows me to do that. As far as the digital, yes, I mean, as far as not digital, the Facebook, LinkedIn, all the socials, we're involved there. We're just not, I would say this, we're involved, but not as good as we should be.
Yeah.
I would think that would be a black eye if you want to say that. We're not a TikTok company, but our demographics don't really scream TikTok. When we're talking, we did a study, and I think our median age customer was like 58 years old.
Yeah.
So it doesn't scream TikTok. Once we get a younger customer base, we might pivot more.
Yeah.
But Facebook is more of a
Facebook's a great spot.
Yeah, a mature audience. So we do hit Facebook more than anything, and LinkedIn isn't super successful for us just because in our footprint in Arizona, we don't have a ton of businesses in a lot of our footprint. So we do, and the folks that we do have on the business side, we go to kind of do in-person meetups with and that sort of thing. In Utah, though, LinkedIn is a little more prevalent for us because we do have a bigger business. So.
That makes a lot of sense. I'll say T-Mobile, when they wanted to shift to the younger audience, they invested in like influencer partnerships, TikTok, and they're kind of like all over now. And I used to think of T-Mobile as like Metro PCS type thing.
Yeah.
Like my husband recently randomly decided to get a T-Mobile network and switch over his phone. And I was like, T-Mobile? Like, is it like, do they even service our area? And he's like, no, like they've really made a comeback. And, as I like looked into it, when they wanted to branch out, I think it was honestly like a year or two ago, they were like, okay, we want to get younger generation. And I see them all over. I see like different influencers that are involved. I see they're renting like spaces at popular festivals and doing that type of advertising. So I'd be curious to see if you guys ever do branch out into like the younger market. It'd be so easy for you guys since you already have established such a solid legacy market. And, I think it's something where you could easily tap into that and kind of follow that same strategy.
I like that. It's actually brilliant because, I discount my median age, but I mean, am I really making an effort to get to that younger age demographic, right? And you mentioned T-Mobile. To your point, T-Mobile 10 years ago, or even 7 years ago, I thought them the same way. And then Deutsche Telekom bought them, and then all of a sudden now they have a fiber company called MetroNet too. They're a monster, and their network has totally improved in Arizona too. Like, I've been in Arizona now 30 years. It's always been Verizon. Verizon's always been the network in Arizona. If you wanted decent coverage, you had to have Verizon. But to your point now, like I have friends as well that have T-Mobile, and why they're hipper or they're cooler, and they say similar stuff as that. They think they're on a cooler brand than.
Yeah, it's wild. Like brands can't really do that. Once you're really like known for something, it's hard to like rebrand as much as you see people try. Like we saw different brands try to like reach younger markets, and it's important. But I think that the way you've developed your company and what you've done is very strategic because you have a loyal legacy base that is tried and true and that they're not going anywhere. And as long as you can continue doing good work to them, you'll be able to keep them, keeping the lights on, so to speak. And now you're sort of in this position where you can start thinking, okay, like, do we want to like have a branch of our business that goes after this, younger crew? But what comes with the younger crews is like, we all want to save money. We all want the cheapest thing. We all want, and that's not always, what the private, companies provide, with internet. So it's like one of those things where like you get what you pay for. I bet you have really good internet. I have Cox and it's good internet. I had, what's the one? It was absolutely terrible. I can't remember what it was, but I'm telling you.
Was it Lumen or Quantum?
I can't. Spectrum. That's what it was.
Which one was it called? Oh, Spectrum. Yeah, Spectrum has issues. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, these were not just issues. Like I had no internet and we apparently had the best internet package there could possibly be.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't understand this. Like, I was living in California at the time and we didn't have like a big house. Like, I was very confused as to why the internet was not consistent. So all of that goes to say is it sounds like you've positioned things really strategically. And now you're at this, really good spot where like you can, decide next year, okay, do we want to just rebrand a certain part of our business, go after a younger generation, or do we want to kind of put more marketing dollars in AI SEO or put more marketing dollars in Facebook, and let's just continue to acquire more and more of our legacy client? And that's a really good place to be.
It is. And, for us, we're always trying to get the message out on our value proposition, on why they want to select us. And that's one of the things that's really important to us. Like, okay, instead of just saying, hey, you're the cheapest or this, I want to give them a reason why.
Yeah.
And when that customer comes and looks at our company, like, hey, you have 24/7 customer service, and hey, it's a really good price, and hey, you can get up to 10 gigs on us. And hey, so we have enough bandwidth for, even if you're Bitcoin mining or whatever you're doing, we have the bandwidth. We don't have data caps. We have all these cool things, but we try to give a value on why that customer should be a customer of ours. And it's worked so far, but that messaging in the marketing is so important to us.
Well, here's the thing. That type of messaging and those type of companies are becoming fewer and fewer and fewer. Have you noticed that whether it's the restaurant industry, the department stores, like people don't care like they used to? And people, I don't know if it's a care thing or you just a lazy thing or people just got too big or what it is, but companies like yours where you're actually like in it to help people, that's where you started, and you really want to provide good internet, right? So people really, I think, cling to that. And I can relate to that as an agency at Rossman. Our whole value proposition is very similar because our industry is there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot. And we are constantly overcoming objections. Oh, I got burned. Oh yeah, I've heard that before. And like everyone's been promised a million things. So we're a family-owned and operated business. We are bootstrapped completely. Our founder was knocking doors for years before becoming like a $70 million company. So it's like one of those things where he is still involved on the day to day, like everything, like down to like if you're spending $200 a month with us, or if you're spending 30 grand a month, whatever it might be.
How cool is that? That does not ever happen.
No, it doesn't. And honestly, it's one of those things, it's such a selling point because if we I will say because of the podcast and because we do specialize, in digital marketing and we position brands for exit, we have different revenue generators for the business where we don't have to bring on, 10 companies a month like other agencies in order to hit our quotas. So we are able to really strategically partner with people. We bring on 3-4 people a quarter, where it becomes this personal relationship, and it is such a different vibe than, traditional agency marketing. And it's kind of what you're saying, like you have tens of thousands of members, but not millions. And it does change the game because you're able to give more of a quality, hands-on relationship partnership with them.
I love how selective you are because, you probably almost interview them as much as they're interviewing you guys and figuring out, hey, are these guys really a good fit for us? And can we give them the return they want? And that's awesome because there's so many in your industry don't do that. They just want it. And then
the thing is we don't understand that because if we don't look under the hood, we'll take a couple weeks and audit businesses, audit their accounts. Obviously we'll get NDAs in place and make sure everything's safely shared, but we'll take a couple weeks to really, and we'll go through our C-suite, we'll go through our account managers, and everyone will kind of give their opinion on, oh yeah, we can crush it for them, and this is what we're recommending. I don't understand the agency model where you just sign up people because it costs, I don't know how they're paying their people, because for us, it costs a lot of money to get people signed up, and to the work in the front load is really expensive for us because it's a lot of work up front. Whereas if they cancel a month later or they cancel 2 months later, we're normally in the red.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I don't understand how people don't do their research, because you can't like, if I was talking to you and interviewing you to, when we were discovering each other for marketing, I wouldn't be able to tell you if you were a good fit from our first call. Like, we'd have to like audit everything you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, and that's another thing. I know this much that, oh gosh, how long ago was that? There was a few years back. We actually used a marketing company at my previous company that I was running. And they did not take their time. They did the 1-day interview and they said, oh yeah, they put a plan together in 48 hours. And we actually thought, gosh, that was quick. I wonder how they put together that plan that quick. But anyway, we rummaged through 6 months of spending and literally saw nothing. And then they said, you know what? We're really not a good fit for you.
Yeah, it's tough. And so like you, we battle those industry objections. And this is all going back to, I really can appreciate how you're running your business, because people want that. Like, AI is taking over, and I think AI can be very helpful in some industries. But at the end of the day, like, I still want to talk to a human. Like, I still want to relate. Like, I want to know that like you care about the service I'm buying from you.
Yeah, that's one thing we'll never, I just think never, but as long as I'm CEO, we'll never stop. I always want to have the 24/7 live person. When you call us, you talk to someone live. I think that personal engagement is really important, especially when we're trying to create that difference or like that value. That's one of the values. I hate talking to robots. I know some people are okay with it, but we also have like, online portals and texting features and stuff like that, but people are all talking. So I like giving the options too.
Yeah.
Not everyone's like me. I like engaging. I like talking. Other people like texting, whatever. We try to give you the options to however you want to engage, I guess.
And I think about my parents who are, older 60s. And I just walked into my mom's house yesterday and she was on hold for 25 minutes with Crocs trying to like, she's like, well, I'm like, Mom, why are you on hold? And she's like, well, they sent me the wrong size. And I'm like, Mom, just chat them. You could be doing other things. Like, just chat them on the website and they'll take care of it. I didn't know I could do that. Like, I didn't, so I know that like there is a generation that does appreciate picking up the phone and calling and talking to someone, but also like they just don't know that like you can just text on your phone and get everything accomplished.
For sure, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really good to hear. I always get super motivated. It's nice and encouraging to hear local businesses. I mean, I know that you guys are really big and not just local to Arizona, but it's nice. I grew up in the Midwest. I come from a family of family-run businesses. So like that like culture is embedded in me. And that's why I work at Rossman, because it gives that small business feel, even though we're a bigger business now.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's kind of like, it's because it doesn't really matter how big you are. You can always have good core competencies. Like, you can always do the right thing, do good by people, and just do good business. And you can tell when a company is doing right. And like, people crave that more and more because we're in such a consumer generation right now where we're being sold to constantly all the time, like all the time. I was just telling my husband, I was like, I just need a day where like I'm not being sold to, because it's overwhelming. It's like, it's literally, it's an up. So like, I'm like, oh my gosh, the scarcity. Like, do I need to buy this now? Like, maybe that is a good idea. Maybe we should look into this. And so it's really nice to be talking with companies and gentlemen like you, where you're setting up things for success. You're doing things the right way. Because I know it's hard, especially when you grow to as big as you guys are. It's probably super tempting to cut corners, and it's super tempting to like do those things. And I can definitely respect and appreciate the way you've set things up.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We try to do, instead of selling, really, we try to lay out back to our value proposition, and we try to take our time and really talk to the customers and explain and just answer questions and explain to them, hey, these are all the benefits you get from signing up with our company versus what you currently have, and then let them kind of make the decision. We try to be more of a consultant and more of, hey, this is the value, this is why you should, and then let them make the decision.
Yeah.
And more times than not, they will pick us. Sometimes they'll, for whatever reason, they'll obviously say no, but for the most part, that method has really worked good for us. So.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this today. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I really appreciate it, and congratulations to all your guys' success at Rossman. Huge kudos to you guys.
Right back at you.